Welcome to another edition of JLJ this evening, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern. New episodes all this week. I pick a topic and talking about it. And today, I'm continuing a topic I had with my brother in private, but not it wasn't a private conversation. Just we had it at home. Nobody threw cameras because he won't go. He won't come on camera. Shout out to him. We talked about what if. Have you ever done that? Have you ever just kind of look back and go, God, what if I didn't do blank? And I don't mean that like in a way that's like evil or bad or just kind of or hacking yourself, but just in general, just like I wonder what if I had never done this, if I had never met you, if I had never gone to that store, if I never. And so we were doing kind of a big one because it's my 16th anniversary back in Los Angeles. He's like, what if you hadn't came back? Like, yeah, what if I had stayed in San Francisco? And then I started going even further and going, what if I had never left Los Angeles? What if I had just stayed? So went to school here instead, didn't leave. And it led down a rabbit hole that was fun. A lot of work, but it was fun. We had a good time, but it was a lot of fun. But it was like, oh my God. And so I was gonna talk that with you guys kind of a little bit because I'm like, it's nighttime. These shows are nighttime. A lot of times we think of things like this at night. Your mind starts to kind of race or you have more because everything's quieted down. So you're talking about stuff. So I just was like, yeah, I've got to think about that. So I was thinking, we'll start first with if I had never left San Francisco. So at the time, when I look back, now I'm looking back 16 years ago. It's kind of funny looking back. Um, in November, let's go back to November 2008. We just elected a new president who's black. That was a trip, right? I was in North Dakota running a conference, Bismarck, North Dakota, running a conference. So that was kind of a trip. I was doing all that. But so at that time, I had a relationship, and I wasn't the happiest in it. And what I'll say is, we got together kind of by default. This person was after my best friend. My best friend was not interested in that person, but he was like kind of shit me too. And that really hurt my when I found that out while we were dating, it really hurt my self-esteem. I fully admit it. I was kind of like, I'm kind of the second choice, even though I was with this person, and but it didn't we had some fun times, but it didn't empower me to want to be I kept thinking that you're always there's that other guy, other person, there's other person that I wasn't the first choice, kind of. And I was in my late 30s. I wasn't mature enough to handle all that. So we were having some issues, but I had a relationship. I had a job at the time that was steady. I was working in the insurance industry. I had a job. I had been there for about a decade. I had a job, but there are some rocky moments happening there too. I had a place to live, which I loved. I had two roommates, I had my own room, I had my own bathroom. One thing is I didn't have a tub. They each had tubs in their bathrooms, but mine didn't. I love taking baths. It kind of sucked. Um, I'm trying to think, did I ever take a bath in their house? I can't remember. Man, I think I may have. Um, and we had a whole working. I had friends. I was a grandfather by then. I had grandkids. My kids were grown. Um, I was doing trips. I was traveling all over the place. I was living high on the hog. It was good, but I wasn't fully happy. I knew that that job was not my passion. I used to watch them. We'd go to dinners, lunches, business dinners, lunches, and I'd watch them devour every piece of information I had to do with insurance or agriculture. They were just really into it. And I remember kept saying to myself, will I ever find something that's like my passion? Like that's not my passion. But I had done well. I had paid off all my debt. I had no debts. I was 38 at the time. I had no debts. No, 39. 39 time. I had no debts. That was all paid off. I did that in my 30s. I don't buy anything. I was in a good position. I had a 401k, and I was in a good position. So I think about that. That was 20. That was November 20. So my thought. So everything changed in December 2008. Um, Broke up with that person, quit the job. I gave notice to the job that I was at, and there was no turning back. Once everything that went down, I had to leave. I had to leave. There was no whatever. And I remember thinking, I don't know if I've ever talked about this before to anybody. I remember thinking because I worked with my best friend, and he was also my roommate, and we were a team of two. So me leaving that created more work for him because he wouldn't leave with me. We both should just quit together and just said fuck you and just left. But he didn't do that. But he ended up staying. So I voiced my whole opinion and feelings, which he echoed much of that, but he didn't leave. So I knew I was leaving. I go, and I remember thinking, and then the other person in the house, the other roommate, worked for the parent company. But I wasn't worried about him so much, and we didn't work together. But it was me and that. I was thinking, this is gonna be weird. And I remember thinking, how can I stay here when he's there still dealing with the aftermath of me leaving? And we didn't live together, but I think it was a whole different story. But the fact that we lived together, how can I it'd just be so weird. When he starts to resent me, when he gets upset with me, when he asks me questions about the job, I'm like, I don't want. So it was just so. It was like, oh my god, like I was trying to leave the mob or something. It was like so weird. And I kept thinking, okay, San Francisco is very expensive, and I didn't want to move out on my own. I remember at that point, I liked living with them. I didn't want to, but so if you do the what if scenario, what if I did stay and got another job? And I didn't even know what I was going to do. I mean, I didn't. I mean, there were a couple of folks who wanted to hire me while I was working at this company. I guess I would reach out to them. Maybe I guess I don't know. I mean, when I go back to food service, retail, event planning, I had so much nursing. I had so much experience and everything. I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't because I didn't look. I literally decided I'm moving back to LA. So what if I hadn't did that? What if that was an option? If this house wasn't an option? What if this house wasn't here? What I do. And back then, LA was cheaper to live than San Francisco. So I mean, now it's kind of comparable. But I could have, yeah, I don't know. But I was just like, what would I do? No, my brother Max, who was still alive at the time, I was thinking, man, I moved in with him. I was thinking about that. If this house, well, maybe I could have moved in with him in LA. But either way, I was just kind of like, what if I stayed in San Francisco? I had my own place before. I did before we did with them. Would I've had to move out because it would have been so tension filled. But then a few months later, part of that company got shut down anyway. They all got fired. So I'm thinking when I just moved out on my own, because it also they were a couple that lived together but had different rooms. They ended up breaking up. So would they have still broken up? Would I lived with one of them, not the other? Like that's kind of a weird thing. What if that? I don't know. Like what would I've gone into? But I'm saying, but that's I would not be doing this. You guys would not know me. I would not be on here. I would not be an entrepreneur probably. Because back then my whole thought was you just go, you work a job, you retire, and that's it. And I was heading to 40 and I was like, that's what I gotta do. I'm like, it's kind of just crazy thing about that. Like, what if I never came back here? And what's funny is, I know everything's a domino effect, but if we go by some of the things that happened here, if I had not left, I always think when my mother and stepfather got sick last year or 2 years ago, thank God I was here already. I was like, thank God I was here. That wasn't somewhere else. I'm thinking of all the things I would have gone through. So I think about that part. Because I can't even think about what if I hadn't said anything at that job and stayed there. I was unhappy. I was working my buns off. and I'm not getting enough money. It was bad. So I mean, yeah. What if I didn't leave? Okay, whatever. Then I go, okay. So I leave still. What if? Because I came back to LA and I said I want to be an actor. I want to try to be an actor. At one point, though, I was thinking maybe I should get a regular job and then try to pursue stuff on the side, which you can't do. It's just that's just too. You can, but it's too hard. But I was thinking maybe I should get a job. I was thinking I switchboard operator. I used to do that for a living. And my mom worked at the airport police station. She was an operator. I was thinking maybe I should get a job with her as an operator and do all that. I thought that for a minute, but I was like, okay, I want to be an actor. I had one acting job booked. It was like it was like a month later. It was in February. I came in January. It was in February. I said, I live off my money. I had worked so hard and had taken a vacation so long. Those first 3 months, I just played around, and I don't regret it. I deserved it. I needed some time to like decompress, have some fun. You know, screw all everybody in the world, have a good time, and I did. The weather was great and all that stuff. But what if I just got a regular job and didn't become an entrepreneur? I would be. What if I hadn't found that book on professional organizing and was like, wait a minute. I like organizing. What if I hadn't written down all the things I liked in my jobs and showed it to my mom, who then showed it to my Aunt Faith? And what if she had never said, I see a business in there? What are we doing today? I even think about 10 years ago when I was having real problems, real big problems. What if I really did leave Los Angeles? I had moved to Pittsburgh for a while. Like, what if I just never came back? Like just that. What if I hadn't met somebody I was dating who said, "I my best friend's gonna be in a show on AfterBuzz TV"? What if I said, "Nah, I'm good"? What if I had said no when they called me? I think they called me like 3 days. I'm not doing that. 3 days later, I said yes, but I'm like, what if I said, "Nah, I'm not doing that"? And you would have to say, you, I would not be like. I'm just thinking, I would not be here doing this. I would not have this show. Like if I hadn't gone and met Doug Hess and put an ad in Craigslist, I wouldn't be in Indiana. Like you know, if I hadn't posted on Instagram, I would have met my clients where I'm in, you know, in New York. Like there's all these turns that if I hadn't done this, or if I had said this, or I had, it's a trip, right? And you know, all your turns or your decisions, your decisions. It's crazy how they all. I mean, it's yeah, it's insane. It's insane. I love it, and I love it at the same time. So, but in conclusion of this, I'm glad to be here. And I'm glad to be in Los Angeles, and I'm glad to be in the position I'm in. I'm in a very blessed position in my home and everything. It's not that expensive. We're doing good and working it out. My brother's job and working it out. It's a trip, kids. It is. It is a trip, and but it has done also. It's taught me that I am making the right decisions. I'm stopping, taking stock of things. I'm doing it even for 2025. I made a couple of decisions. I actually have turned down an offer. Said, nah, that's not good. Turned down another offer too. I said, no, I'm not into those. I'm trying to work smarter, not harder. I'm trying to really look at my golden years and all that stuff. I'm looking into all of it. So, and in relationships too, I'm just like, why am I chasing after somebody? Why am I doing? I got let's read the room, James. If people want to be around you, they'll be around you, right? They'll be around you. That's all, guys. I'm James Lott Jr. It says JLJ this evening. You can listen to me on any audio streaming platform under JLJ this evening, or you can watch. We also have JLJ this morning and JLJ After Dark. You can check those out too. Bye.